You ever hear something so strange it lingers in your head for years? Not like a scary story you read online, or a movie you forgot to finish. I mean something real. Something that, deep down, you know happened. This story still messes with me. I didn't live through all of it myself, but I followed it closely. I knew people involved. I saw things with my own eyes. And even now, almost 6 years later, I think about it every time I drive past the tree line on Pine Hollow Road. That road runs along the edge of town where streetlights fade and cell service cuts out. Most people around here avoid it after dark, not because of superstition or local legend, but because of what happened in the winter of 2019. It all started with a man named Carson Mayfield. Lived alone in a beat-up one-story house at the very end of Pine Hollow. He was in his mid-40s, mostly kept to himself. People said he used to work in construction, but his back gave out. Lately, he'd just been doing odd jobs for cash. Gutters, fences, hauling scrap metal. The thing is, Carson didn't have any family left. No wife, no kids. Just him and a mother of a dog named Rocco. Sometimes you'd see him at the gas station on Route 6, buying chewing tobacco and scratch-off tickets. Always wore the same faded green army jacket, even in the summer. Quiet but polite. No one ever had a problem with Carson until January 5th. That night, a 16-year-old girl named Lily Tran went missing. Her parents thought she was at a friend's sleepover, but she never showed. Phone went dead around 8:47 p.m. No signs of struggle. No bad crowd. Just gone. A week passed with no leads. Flyers went up all over town. School held a candlelight vigil. I remember seeing her picture taped to glass at the diner, smiling, braces, bright eyes. She looked so full of life, like the kind of kid you'd expect to see laughing too loud at a birthday party. Then someone mentioned seeing her walk along Pine Hollow Road that night. She had been at a friend's place nearby and left to head home. Took the shortcut through the woods. That's when Carson's name first came up. He lived right near the trailhead, just a few hundred feet off the road. A deputy was sent out to knock on his door. He didn't answer. Not that night. Not the next day either. That's when they got a warrant. I was working part-time at the county records office when everything broke open. I wasn't law enforcement, but I had access to the police scanner. And the day they went in, I heard the call go out. Unit 3, respond to Pine Hollow. Officer requesting backup. Possible 10 to 54. Bring crime scene. I didn't know what a 10 to 54 was at the time. It means possible dead body. When they got inside Carson's house, they found something wrong. Not like blood on the walls or bones in the freezer. No, it was weirder than that. The entire living room had been stripped bare. No furniture, no pictures, not even curtains. Just a single plastic lawn chair in the center, facing a wall. On that wall, dozens of Polaroid were taped up, each showing the exact same tree in different lighting. Winter, summer, fog, night, always the same angle, always the same tree. Behind the house, the dog was dead. Rocco, no visible wounds, just lying there in the snow like he gave up and stopped breathing. And Carson, gone, no sign of him. But in the basement, they found Lily, alive, tied to support beam, blindfolded and gagged, but breathing. She was barely conscious, dehydrated, terrified. But she made it. That's when this went from a missing persons case to something else. They got Lily to the hospital, but she barely spoke for days. When she finally did, she couldn't remember much. Said it was mostly dark. Said she was cold all the time. Said she never saw Carson's face. He always wore a mask. Not like a Halloween mask either. She described it as something homemade, rough burlap, a holes cut out, stitched in places with red thread. She said it smelled like mildew and old meat. She didn't know how long she'd been down there. Said she lost count after 4 days. She was fed kind of oaken food, sometimes just plain dry rice and cold tap water. And she said there was music playing sometimes, softly like an old cassette, always the same tune. Twangy guitar, slowed down like it was melting. She could hum a few notes of it, but no one recognized the song. The authorities searched every inch of that house. They found evidence of planning, maps with circles drawn around hiking trails, photos of teenagers walking alone, handwritten notes on paper scraps like, "Wait until after 7 p.m., avoid cameras, walk behind, no phone, no car, no attention." It wasn't random. Carson had been watching people for months, maybe longer. But then came the worst part. In the attic, tucked behind insulation, they found a locked black case. Inside were 6 VHS tapes. Old, dusty, labeled only with numbers, 1 through 6. The tapes weren't supposed to be released. But a friend of mine in the sheriff's department, who I won't name for obvious reasons, told me what was on them. The first 5 tapes showed different girls. None local, none matching any missing persons in the area. Each video was quiet, low quality, no sound except for breathing and that warped guitar music. They were filmed from a fixed camera angle in the basement. Same spot they found Lily. You could see the beam she'd been tied to. You could see someone, a man, walking in and out of frame, always wearing that mask. No violence on tape, nothing explicit, but you could tell from the pacing, the way it was filmed, that these girls didn't get out like Lily did. And tape 6, that one was blank, just snow and static for 45 minutes. No one knows why. Some people think he planned a 6th victim, but never followed through. Others say the 6th was himself, like he recorded it before running, like some kind of message. But if it was, it didn't make any sense. They issued a manhunt, put Carson on national bulletins, photos, sketches, even his voice on radio segments. Nothing. It was like he vanished into thin air. But things didn't stop there. About 3 weeks after the house was cleared, someone broke into it. The place had been boarded up, police tape everywhere, property marked for investigation. But sometime between midnight and 3 a.m., someone pried off the back door and got inside. Nothing was stolen, no windows smashed, no signs of vandalism. But when deputies checked the next morning, they found something new. Taped to the center of that bare living room wall, the one with all the tree photos, was a single fresh Polaroid. Same tree, same angle. But this time, there was a person standing under it. It was Lily, fully clothed, eyes open, standing still like a statue. She had no memory of it being taken. The photo was dated that week. Forensics couldn't prove it was recent, but the snow on the ground matched that week's weather. Her clothes matched what she wore therapy 2 days before. And most chilling of all, her expression was different than any of her other photos. She wasn't scared. She looked resigned, like she knew the picture was being taken and just let it happen. Her parents freaked. Police put her under surveillance. She had to be pulled out of school, moved out of town. And to this day, no one knows how someone got that close to her, took a photo, and left in the house without being seen. After that, Pine Hollow became a ghost road. The Mayfield house was fenced off, then eventually demolished, but the foundation is still there. You can see it if you look through the trees. Just a cracked square of concrete and rotting wood. People say animals won't go near it, but there's more. I told you earlier that I didn't live through all of this myself. That's not entirely true. You see, about a year after all this went down, I was helping my uncle clean out an old shed on his property. He lives just 5 miles from where the Mayfield house stood. While hauling out scrap, I found a box wedged behind a shelf. Old metal ammo box, rusted shut. Took a crowbar to open it. Inside, more photos. Same Polaroid style. Dozens of them. Only these weren't of trees or trails. They were of houses. At night, from a distance. Some with windows lit up, some with shadows barely visible inside. Always taken from outside, like someone was standing just behind the tree line, watching. One of those houses was mine. I didn't tell anyone about the photos right away. I don't know why. Maybe it was shock. Maybe it was the part of me that didn't want to believe what I was seeing. I kept flipping through them in my room late at night, trying to find some other explanation. Maybe they were old. Maybe it was just a coincidence. But I knew it wasn't. I recognized my bedroom window. I recognized the curtains. And I recognized the shirt I was wearing in one of the photos, blue flannel. I still had it in my closet. I had worn it the night of a thunderstorm the previous month. Slept with the window open because the power was out and the air was thick. There was no doubt someone had been outside my house, watching me, taking pictures. And I never heard a thing. I eventually gave the box to the sheriff's department. They asked me 100 questions, how I found it, who had access, why I waited. I told them everything. They took it seriously at first, but after a few weeks, the energy shifted. They stopped calling for follow-ups. The box wasn't brought up again. I asked my contact inside the department what happened to it. He told me quietly, it's gone, like lost, disappeared from evidence. Like a lot of things in this case. Just like that. Gone. You know what the weirdest part is? It didn't stop after that. About 6 months later, the Tran family, the ones who moved after the Polaroid incident, got a letter. No return address. Inside the envelope was a single photo, folded 3 times. Same tree. But this time, the photo wasn't taken in winter. It was spring. Fresh leaves, morning light, and a figure standing beneath the branches, just barely visible in the shade. It looked like a man, tall, wearing something over his face. They said it wasn't Lily in this one. It was someone else. When the father turned the photo over, there was something written on the back in blocky, childish handwriting. She wasn't the first. She won't be the last. The Trans left the state a week later. Didn't even sell the house. Just abandoned it. I think about that tree a lot. People have tried to find it, match the Polaroid's angle, comb through the woods. A few amateur sleuths and YouTubers came out here with drones, infrared cameras, even psychics. None of them found it. Some say it was all just an elaborate game, a hoax. A performance by some twisted person playing with the town's fear. That Carson Mayfield was just a scapegoat or a mentally ill man who stumbled into something much bigger than himself. But I don't buy that, because just last year, 5 years after Lily was found, there was another case. A girl went missing in a town about 90 miles south. Same age, same look, vanished while walking home. She was found 3 days later, tied up in an abandoned root cellar on private land. Same setup, blindfolded, dehydrated, soft music playing from an old cassette deck. There were no cameras, no Polaroids, but guess what was left behind? A mask, burlap, red stitching, still damp from sweat. And next to it, wedged into the dirt floor, was a single brass dog tag. The name on it? Rocco. So no, this story doesn't have a clean ending. There was no capture, no trial, no press conference with flashing cameras, and the sheriff announcing they got the guy. There's just silence, disappearance, fear that stretches out over years. Some people say Carson is still out there, that he never left the woods, that he walks at night, just beyond where your porch light reaches, that he waits. Others think he's dead, that someone else picked up where he left off, maybe someone he trained, or something even worse, that there's more than one. Whatever the truth is, I know this. Some nights, I wake up without knowing why, and I swear, I feel eyes on me, so I check the curtains, I check the locks, and then I check the tree line. And when I go back to bed, I tell myself I'm just being paranoid, that there's nothing out there, but I never really believe it, and neither should you.